guys, welcome back to my channel, Menda Theory. I made a new intro for this video. Hope you like it. Today we're going to be talking about Boba Fett, as I promised in my last video. Boba Fett is one of the most notorious bounty hunters in the galaxy. Clone of Jango Fett. He did not have any of his DNA tampered with, which means he did not have any altered growth or behavioral modifications. When Fett was only 10 years old, Mace Windu decapitated his father in the arena at Geonosis, and he witnessed that. Ever since then, he has hated Mace Windu, which led to the series in the Clone Wars, where Boba Fett tried to assassinate Mace Windu several times, and each time he failed. He had a crew of other bounty hunters with him. I'm only going to name a few of them because there are a lot, but some of them were Bosk and Aurra Sing. Aurra Sing we see like everywhere. She's also a really famous bounty hunter. The first way he tried to kill Mace Windu is by sneaking on to the clone ship and trying to blow up his dorm while he was in it. But eventually he was taken in by Mace Windu and other Jedi into the Senate prison. This is what Boba Fett said to Mace Windu. "I see now what I've done terrible things. But you started all this when you murdered my father. I'll never forgive you." Well, you're going to have to take him away. That was the one time Mace Windu and Boba Fett talked to each other. The next time we see Boba Fett is several years later, and he's been a bounty hunter for several years. He'd already escaped from prison, which he did shortly after he was put in, because he had several friends in the actual Senate prison who all helped him. We really don't see him much again until we get to the original trilogy. That's where we see like the most of Boba Fett. During that time, he was hired as Jabba's main bounty hunter on Tatooine and enforced most of his rules on everyone. He also worked for the Empire and Darth Vader a lot. The reason I think that Darth Vader kept Fett around so much and as a bounty hunter was because he reminds him of the clones. Because remember, Vader used to be Anakin Skywalker, who was a Jedi Knight commanding legions of clone troopers. Fett wears Mandalorian armor because his father, Jango Fett, was a foundling. He is not a true Mandalorian because he is only a clone of his father, Jango Fett. He has a right to the armor because it was passed down through his family, but like Din Djarin or Bo-Katan, he is not a Mandalorian like them. One of the ways he is most notorious in the galaxy is the way he disintegrates everyone. He carries around an Amban phase pulse blaster. I have another video on that. I'll leave a card up in the top about it if you want to go watch that, which is used to disintegrate people. Which is why in The Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader says no disintegrations to him, because he knows that's Fett's favorite way to dispose of people. Jedi. Then in Return of the Jedi, we see him tracking down, later on in that same movie, we see him capture Han Solo and Princess Leia and C-3PO and Chewbacca on Cloud City and corner them with Darth Vader. Then Vader tests out the carbonite freezing pit on Han Solo and gives him to Fett so he can collect the bounty on him from Jabba. Is in Return of the Jedi, where we see him in Jabba's palace again, capturing Princess Leia as she tries to free Han. Then they're taken onto a sail bridge as Luke and Leia and Han all try to escape. Fett is there trying to fight them off. Han Solo accidentally shoots into his jetpack, which is one of the few spots on his armor that is vulnerable. And then his jetpack basically explodes, sending him face first down into the pit of the Sarlacc. Everyone thinks he's dead at this point, but he actually survived the Sarlacc. Where we first see his armor is worn by Cobb Vanth after he bought it off of some Jawas who found it scrapping in the deserts of Tatooine. Mando then receives this armor as payment from Vanth for helping him deal with the Krayt Dragon. After that, we see that Fett helped save Fennec Shand after she was shot in a later episode of The Mandalorian. The next time we see either of them is later on in Season 2, when they're both there tracking down Mando, getting back Fett's armor from him, and helping protect the child and rescue him. Because through then, Moff Gideon steals Grogu, and Fett promises to help Mando break on to his Star Destroyer and rescue Grogu. He transports them over there, and then him and Shand take off for Tatooine to go take over Jabba's palace. And then the next thing we see above him is a trailer for the Book of Boba Fett, which will be coming out in a few weeks. I am really excited for it, and I have some theories of what is going to happen. That's what I'll be talking about in the next part of this video. The first thing I think is going to happen is we're going to see a more in-depth detail of how he takes over Jabba's palace. That's what I'm really looking forward to see, and how he starts to become the known king of the underworld, which is whoever rules Jabba's palace is. You see his palace is a lot more empty in the trailer at the end of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. That is because Jabba is dead, and a lot of people who used to serve him are also dead. Most of them died on the sail barge in Return of the Jedi. The next thing I think that's going to happen is that as he starts to take over the underworld, all of the crime syndicates are slowly going to join him, and eventually he's going to have pretty close to the same size group as Darth Maul did in the end of the Clone Wars. After that happens, I think he's going to move on to Coruscant and start taking over the underworld there. And after that, I really don't know what's going to happen. I hope he meets back up with Mando, and him and his syndicate help take over Mandalore from the Empire and rebuild it. That would be really interesting to see in the show. That brings us to the end of today's episode. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Mando Theory, out.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.